A new study from GM for Distracted Driving Awareness Month. That's our Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us is GM Safety Engineer Tricia Morrow. Good to see you, Tricia.
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Well, GM has put together what it calls a Future of Safety Research study. Give us a little bit of an overview, first of all, about this study.
Well, it's obviously Distracted Driving Month, as you mentioned. And, at General Motors, we are really dedicated to help prevent distracted driving and help reduce it out on the roads. We knew that from a study that we did with Virginia Tech Transportation Research Institute, that 68% of crashes involve a secondary task. And that's not just using your phone. That's all the secondary tasks that can be in your vehicle, such as reaching for an object, reading, lots of different things in the vehicle. And we also know from another VTTI study that when a driver's in an elevated emotional state, they're almost 10 times more likely to get into a crash. So in this post-pandemic era, we really wanted to know what was going on in the vehicles, what was going on with our customers. So we worked with McCann World Group's Truth Central Intelligence Unit to conduct this future of safety research. And we found that our customers really, and that drivers really are impacted. They feel they're impacted by their emotional state. 40%, for example, feel more anxious than they did before the pandemic.
We've seen statistics over the last year or 2 years about the numbers of fatalities rising in conjunction with the number of miles driven. Is there a feeling that there's a relationship between what you found in your study and those numbers?
That's such an interesting question. Well, nothing can be definitive. We have seen fatalities per miles driven increase during the pandemic. And that's been attributed to lots of risky driver behaviors, increase in speed, increase in alcohol use, lack of seatbelt use, but also distraction could be a key component to that as well. Looking at that VTTI study, 68% of crashes involving a secondary task. And then this future of safety research comes back and shows that 54% of drivers report that they've cried in their vehicle, and that a third have pulled over because they felt too emotional to drive. And really all of that combined with this increased feeling of anxiousness or stress post-pandemic really could be one of the factors that have increased some of the fatalities we've seen.
Well, you looked at parents, asking them questions too, especially parents of young children. You're a mom. I'm a parent. Kids are grown, but have grandchildren. So tell us what the impact is of having children in the car and what can be done about it.
Well, we found that this issue of stress has really disproportionately affected children. For example, my teenage daughter, she was schooling at home, lots of different, social and different impacts from the pandemic. They really have this increased stress, even more so than some of the adults that we surveyed. Also, with the adults that we surveyed, we found that they did feel that having kids in the car did increase their stress, which of course it does. I've had babies in the car before, and of course, a crying child or someone who needs something from you, additional passengers in the vehicle could of course increase your stress. But it's just really important for us to realize, especially during Distracted Driving Month, but all year long, that distractions can take the form of so many things. It's not just our phones, and we really need to be cognizant of our emotional state. Which is why General Motors has launched our TikTok challenge, Scream It Out.
Tell me about that. What is that?
So it's just a very playful campaign on TikTok where we've used about 4 influencers that are focused on mental health, that they're really screaming it out before they drive. While General Motors is not an expert on vent therapy or anything along those lines, again, this is a playful way to show before you drive, get all that stress out. Make sure that you're driving with your eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, and your mind on the drive. And it's just a playful way, again, of showing that driving while stressed can be distracting, and to scream it out before you drive and encourage those safe driving practices.
Not so much in the car. I think what you have some figures here about the number of parents who, I think it's 60% with children under 10 say they often shout at their kids. I don't know what's wrong with the other 40%, but so you're telling people to do what they need to do to vent before they get in the car, but that still doesn't deal necessarily with the issue of what the kids are doing during the trip.
Absolutely. But, we all know, as all of us parents know, that, if you have a clear mind, you can better deal with all the demands of the children. But to your point, that was a very funny statistic that said, I believe it was something like 64% of parents say that they prefer to drive alone. I'm like, why isn't that 100? But it really does show that additional people in the vehicle can cause additional distractions. And it's really important, whether you scream it out or whatever technique you use to calm yourself before the drive is really important, especially as parents, so that you can deal with the children that you're transporting to, whether it be soccer or for us, it's volleyball events. But again, really focusing on the drive.
How big is that problem in comparison to the texting and eating and drinking behind the wheel that we all know is so common?
It's interesting. If you look at the VTTI study that shows, texting on your handheld phone can increase your crash risk by six times. But driving in that elevated, agitated, emotional state that can really be recorded, that they were able to see on cameras. So again, a really elevated emotional state can increase your crash risk by 9.8 times, so almost 10 times. So, it's really important that we, again, keep our phones down, eyes on the road, and really, make sure that we're in the proper emotional state to drive and deal with all of the things that can happen during that drive, be it passengers in the car or different things on the road.
And with different emergencies or tragedies and things, the advice would be for people not to drive, I assume, to find another driver.
Absolutely. And if you ever need assistance in General Motors vehicles, you can always push the OnStar button. They're trained to help in crisis situations, and certainly can help find can help you through any sort of situation.
Where can people turn to for more information about all this?
Obviously, gm.com under vehicle safety, we have information on distraction, the Scream It Out challenge, and other safety related issues. And I'd also encourage you to go to TikTok and search through that hashtag Scream It Out.
Very cool. Tricia Morrow, thank you for taking the time with us.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.